Alright guys, today's goal is factor by grouping and special products. I skipped some examples of just factoring basic numbers, so that should be okay. But guys, I know there's a lot of examples, but this requires a lot of repeat to get to know it. So greatest common factor between 12 and 6. So, or 12 and 36. So the factors of 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. The factors of 36, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 12, 18, 36. What's the greatest common? 12. Okay, so hopefully not difficult to get the greatest common factor. You just find them all and list it. Or the other way you could do it is by doing a prime factoring. So if you go 72, okay, you make that 2 and 36. You're done with this one because it's prime. And then you can go 6 and 6, and then 2 and 3, and then 2 and 3, and then for 240, I'm just going to go 24, 10, 2 and 5, 8 and 3, 4 and 2, 2 and 2. And then the 432, you have 36 and 12, 4 and 3, 2 and 2, 6, 6, 2, 3, 2, 3. So now what you look is, how many 2's does a smaller number have? 1, 2, 3. So you know you have 2 to the third power. Now double check. Let's make sure all of them have 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Again, start with the number. It's got 2 3's. Well, this one only has 1 3. So you only do 1 3. This one does still have a 3, so the greatest common factor between those, 24. Okay? But now let's get into more of the factoring piece. So it says factor out the greatest common factor between 3m and 12. So what can I factor out? The 3. And you get m plus 4. Okay? What can I factor out of here? Well, I can factor out x to the 4th. You get x squared plus 1. Alright, let's keep going. Now here is where they're factored by grouping. See how the a plus 3 and the a plus 3 are there? Well, if I pull out the a plus 3 from each, you get a plus 3 and then a plus 4. So what's the greatest common factor here? Well, the only common factor they have was the a plus the 3. Okay? This, what's the largest number I can factor out? Well, not largest, but if we factor out negative 3, you get positive 3x squared minus 3x plus 8. And that's it. So the common factor is negative 3. Okay? So factor by grouping. So what we do here, group the first 2 and the second 2. Okay? Now see how the plus is in the middle? That's very key. You have to have the plus here. If it's not there, you are not doing it correctly. Okay, so factor out the 2, you have x plus 3. Factor out the a, you have x plus 3 again. So you have x plus 3. What are you left with? 2 plus a. Because you factor out these. What are you left with? The 2 plus the a. Okay? Let's look at another. So watch. We group. Does this say plus? No, it says minus. You have to go plus a negative. So it should look like this. 7z squared plus 14z plus negative az minus 2a. Everything else stays the same. You just change it from minus to plus a negative. Factor out the 7z. You have z plus 2. Factor out the negative a. Because see how these matched up here? Well, we need this to match over here. See how it's positive, positive, and this is negative, negative? That means factor out the negative. And they have a in common. So you have z plus 2. Because if I factor out negative a, negative divided by a negative is positive. And then you pull the a out and it's just z. Same thing here. Okay? So what do we have? Well, we're going to pull out the z plus 2 from each. And you're left with 7z minus a. Okay? Let's keep going. Alright, so remember, you group the first two, second two. Now, sometimes you have to rearrange things, so if it doesn't work, we'll see what happens. So let's check this out here. What do 10x squared minus 12y have in common? Looks like just 2. So if I factor out a 2, you have 5x squared minus 6y. Here, what do the next two have in common? No numbers in the x. So if I factor out an x, I have 15 minus 8y. Do the two parentheses match? No. So we have to rearrange these somehow. So what I'm going to do is get the x's together. So 10x squared plus 15x. And then the y's together. Minus 12y minus 8xy. Okay? So group the first two and the second two. See how it's minus? Change it to plus the negative. Factor out 5x here. You have 2x plus 3. Well, I know I'm going to have to factor out a negative, 4, and the y. So you have 3 plus 2x. This, same thing as this. So factor out the 2x plus 3, and you're left with 5x minus 4y. Okay? So right away when I look at this, I see y and w and then y and yw. So I'm going to switch it again. Put the y's together. 6y squared plus 15y minus 20w minus 8w. Oh, yep. Y. Change that to plus the negative. Factor out 3y. You get 2y plus 5. Factor out negative 4w, and you have 5 plus 2y. So again, that's the same thing. So you're left, pull out the 2y plus 5. You're left with 3y minus 4w. Okay? So let's do another one here. Alright. Group first two, second two. It's already plus. What do these have in common? X. So you have x plus 25. Okay. See how this already matches this? Again, this already matches this. So when that happens, you factor out 1 because it doesn't change it. So then you have x plus 25, x plus 1. Okay? Let's go on to another page. Alright, so here are some factoring rules. Here, if you have ax plus b squared equals this, ax minus b squared, follow along, but we'll just get into those later because those aren't necessarily directed here. But these are special products. This is the difference of two perfect squares. Okay? So here, x squared minus 9, what multiplies negative 9 adds to 0? It's just x plus 3, x minus 3. The rule that's not there, oh yep, right here actually. See how it's ax plus b, ax minus b, ax squared minus b squared? we started here, went backwards, okay? So now here, x minus 3 squared, we're looking at this. So you do ax squared. So what's x? So it's just 1x squared, so it's x squared, minus 2 times x times 3. So minus 2 times x times 3 plus 3 squared. So you have minus 4. So first thing we have to do is multiply it out. So then you'd have x squared minus 6x plus 9 minus 4. So then you'd have x squared minus 6x plus 5. So now remember, this is where you go, what multiplies to 5? Because you go 1 times 5 is 5. So what multiplies to 5 adds to negative 6. X minus, not 6. X minus 5. X minus 1. Here, 1 times 4 is 4. What multiplies to 4 adds to 4? 2 and 2, which is just x plus 2 squared. Okay? What multiplies to 4 adds to negative 4? Well, instead of plus 2, it's x minus 2, which is x minus 2 squared. Now this one we might need a calculator for, because here 1 times 256 is 256, but it adds to 32. But here's the thing. I remember 256 is a square root. What's the square root of 256? It's 16. So this is just x plus 16 times x plus 16, which is x plus 16 squared. Okay, let's go on to another slide. Alright, this next one looks a little bit tricky because it's got x to the 2n, but it's not. Is 4 a perfect square? Yes. Is 25 a perfect square? Yes. So it's 4x to the n minus 5, 4x to the n plus 5. Now, I would do a couple things here. So first, I'd factor out negative 2, and this would be 4 plus 25x squared. And then I like switching it. So I'd say negative 2 and then 25x squared plus 4. Well, both 25 and 4 are perfect squares. So you have 5x plus 4, 5x minus 4. Okay? So this one, I can factor out a 3 and an x squared, and you're left with x squared minus 100. Both perfect squares again, so it's x minus 10, x plus 10. Okay? Factor out 4, and that's it. You're left with x squared plus 32x plus 256. Had to use the calculator there. Well, we already did that one. It's going to be x plus 16 squared. Okay, let's go on to another page. Alright, these are good ones to know. It's the sum and difference of two cubes, okay? So, x to the third plus b to the third, or x to the third minus b to the third. And here's how they factor. These are things you're going to want to memorize. So here's the thing. The first thing I would do here is I would rewrite this. That's x to the third plus 2 to the third. So now I am using this rule. Okay? So you have x plus 2, x squared minus 2x plus 4. Because look, A is the x, B is the 2. So x squared minus 2 times x plus 2 squared, which is 4. Now for the next one here, we're just going to be using this one because it's minus, but it's still the same thing. This one is like x to the third minus 2 to the third. So you got to figure out what's the cube root of 8, okay? So this one is x minus 2, x squared plus 2x plus 4. Alright, let's keep going. Alright, so here, 27, well, cube root of 27 is 3, so you have 3x to the third, and cube root of 64 is 4, minus 4x to the third. So here you have 3x minus 4, and then a squared, well, what's 3x squared? 9x squared. Minus, now it's 2, it's just not minus, it's plus, and you go a times b, so what's 3x times 4? 12x. And then it's b squared, what's 4 squared? 16. Okay? Alright, we'll see you guys in class.